It has been called the most expensive motion picture ever made. It has been called the biggest failure. But the truth is that this history changed lives. And this film changed Hollywood. Cleopatra was the film with the most expensive and complicated filming in the entire history of cinema. 2 years of a real heart attack finished what would be a masterful masterpiece that took, however, several decades to be recognized as a cool work. It was released in 1963 with mixed reviews. Cleopatra is a biography of the Queen of Egypt, her ambition, her love, and her aim. Of the Leandri trio, lots of actresses were considered for the main role, like Audrey Hepburn or Sophia Loren. But then I highlight, of course, a passionate Elizabeth Taylor, in which has been, without a doubt, her most popular and iconic role. Rex Harrison and Richard Burton also deserve recognition, one for earning an Oscar nomination and the other for being a novel and erotic Marco Antonio. Although at the beginning it was thought to make a remake of the version that was made in 1917 by the same producer, the 20th Century Fox, with a limited budget and at the same time making the studio earn money without exposing much capital. But the events were happening in such a way that the production will end not only being the most expensive in history, but will leave the studio in a desperate economic situation, produced not by a box office failure, because the film was quite successful, but because the production funneled left from $2 million of initial budget up to $44 million of those years. Elizabeth Taylor's starting salary was $1 million, a record number for those days. But after delays, illness, overtime, and the actress's dangerous operation to prevent her death, she ended earning a total of $7 million. And in fact, in some scenes you can see the scar for the intervention. And of course, the diva owner of an enormous company put some clauses in her contract that will go to her economic benefit, of course. One of them, for example, was that the film was shot in Taut AO, a format invented by the actress's dead husband, Michael Todd. She also stated in writing that the elected director must have her approval. Well, the real Cleopatra ruined Egypt, this one ruined Fox. The director who started filming was Ruben Mamoulian, but although the causes were not official, they were fired after several months of filming. The filmation started in London, but after Mullen was fired, Joseph L. Mackius made it known to producers that the film could not be shot in London because of the weather conditions. It's just something of logic, it's Egypt. Were not appropriated to recreate Egypt or Rome, so he disassembled piece by piece the whole port of Alexandria, the enormous building of the Senate, the palace of Cleopatra, etc., etc. And the production moved to Rome, the same city that 200 years before received the authentic Queen of the Nile. The interruptions to filming, the extremely high cost, keeping everything on point, made thousands of dollars a day to be talked about. Cobblestone changes, especially in the shelter of Cleopatra, because she have like 19 different costumes, and one was made with real gold. Sometimes 2 days before filming, the wings of its protagonist, because Liz received her food daily from the US by private plane. From the USA by private plane. And from her favorite restaurant. Elizabeth was considered in those years an authentic sexual revolutionary, a battle that will end one and make change all the schemes of an extremely Puritan society. Also, in this battle, she managed to defeat the Vatican itself, which intended to excommunicate her. And of course, she was considered the American homecracker. Cleopatra joined Elizabeth Taylor and Rachel Burton on and off screen. Their juiciest scenes, not just writing in the script, gave it a pink press. Lot of gossip to talk about at the time, especially considering that they were both married at the time. Their stormy relationship just saying so much, which include marriage, and divorce. They got married 2 times. Cleopatra was triumphal entry into Rome was filming in optimal conditions. For its projection, the famous sequence was filmed for more than a month. And of course now, it have influence in movies like Aladdin, because the entry of Aladdin is pretty similar. But this is just a CGI bleep. Okay, I call down. In addition, with the time it took, many sets and decorations they deteriorated, and due to careless, many Italians took the opportunity today could make their own projects. However, the shows does not end there, cause once one of the lions escaped in run, and it took more than 3 hours before to be found in the city, or the scandal of the slaves. Many extras complained that the Italians were very disrespectful and they handled them. Yeah. There are a lot of history behind this movie that you can make a movie with these histories. Yeah, a whole movie. Can you imagine that? It would be wonderful. It could be better than the movie itself. But that failure left 20th Century Fox one step away from bankruptcy, and also declared to dead a film genre, the peplum, also called epic cinema, or adventure history. Almost 4 decades passed before a large studio decided to bring back a film of these characteristics. It was in the 20s with the premiere of Gladiator by Radley Scott. Curious that it was the same Liv who gave the Golden Globe to these movies, and she was very drunk. You can see the video on YouTube. Those were the funniest 3 minutes of my life. By the end, I must say that this movie initially will be 2 parts, and it was originally 6 hours, but they cut it, and we can see now 3 hours. In a special edition, you can see 4 hours, but the rest of them get lost. For end, I must recognize that this was one of the better movies I had ever seen. And I want to say the final phrase of the movie to end. Was it worth action of the part of the master? Asked the Roman, and the slave answered, very worthy indeed, as benefit the last queen of such noble stock. I think that means a lot.